If you are a multi-passionate girl boss who wants to create, write, teach, learn, connect, and take time for herself and her family and friends, you are listening to the right pod. Hi, I'm Lauren Jean, your go-to podcast resource girl and self and business development freak. I love everything related to development, as well as focusing on self-confidence, letting go of control, and following your intuition. All right, let's get down to the good stuff. Hello, welcome back to another episode of the podcast, and today's show is brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/The Lauren Jean Show. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, your Android, your Kindle, your MP3 player. And I have to tell you, I've been using this service for about 2 months now, and I am absolutely loving it. It is just a perfect complement to podcasts because it is audio, and I just love to consume content in this way. And now I have a chance to actually listen to the books that I love, because sometimes it's hard for me to sit down and actually read a book. But now that this option is here, and I really dove into it and allowed it into my life because I've wanted to for such a long time, but now that I have them as a sponsor, it makes it that much more exciting to actually talk about it because I'm using it on a daily basis. Right now, I am listening to You Are a Badass at Making Money. The author is Sincero, and I've got a couple of others, and just every single month I get a free audiobook download just for being a member, and it's amazing. So I highly suggest that you give it a try. Go on over to www.audibletrial.com/The Lauren Jean Show. All right, let's get into this week's show. Hi guys, thanks for joining me once again. Welcome to a solo show with just me, your host, Lauren Jean. I am so happy. I just want to tell you that I really, really appreciate you being here each and every week, whether it's an interview show or it's just me. I really do appreciate you being here and listening to me rant or rave and just be able to get this awesome information out to you. I really have enjoyed this journey of podcasting, and it is constantly changing. And if you're an entrepreneur who's listening to this show, you know what I'm talking about. Because once again, I am going through some changes over here, and I've learned to embrace it instead of freaking out, because I did the freak outs. You know, going through this, figuring out what it is that you want to do is so hard because entrepreneurs tend to have a very creative side, and it's very hard to shut that down. But I've learned that it's okay to have all of these different sides and not to shut them down. That's like the worst thing that you can do, because then you're just creating this overwhelm and this stress, and it just makes what you truly love to do a stress, and this is not the point of it. So I'm going to go into today a couple of things. I am really excited at this point in my life. And before I go on, I just want to tell you that I will be taking 6 weeks off from the show. This is something I have yet to do since I started podcasting back in March of 2015. So the podcast is about 2 years and 3 months old. March, April, May, June, July. So around 2 years and 3 months old. And I have not taken a break from it. So I'm really dedicating myself to taking the time off so that I can really dive into this whole quantum physics passion that has suddenly come over me. And I'm really interested in the science of it because I want to be able to bring this back to you. And I want to be able to talk about topics that are in our everyday life. And I'm starting to collect questions from people. So if you have questions that relate to why it is what we do, consciousness, what is reality, and all about this internal stuff that we go through, and even the external, why we feel like we need to look a certain way to certain people, and what that really means to us on the inside, and this whole thing on ego and intuition and manifestation. I mean, there's so many different parts to it. And I am dedicating myself to taking these next 6 weeks to really dive into Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'm using his book as sort of like a textbook for myself, and I have been highlighting the shit out of it, really highlighting, because there are so many points in there that I feel that can really, really help people. And I want to simplify it. And I also want to share the sciencey part of it too, because I know we have those types of minds. A lot of people are truly inspired by this type of work, knowing that our minds really can control our futures and our thoughts become reality. That's something to really think about. Our thoughts become our reality. When you think about that and you don't really understand the science part of it, you can say, oh yeah, that's really cool and I agree. But then it's hard to carry it out and it's hard to continue with it. And then you sort of get lost in this cycle of doing the same shit over and over again without realizing why that you're doing it. And for me to keep doing something, let's just give it an example here, right? A very typical one when people are trying to figure out food, okay, diet. That's a huge thing out there. Why do you think the diet cycle, and it's called a cycle for a reason, is because it doesn't work. Because people don't seem to understand, they're not at that level to understand why this keeps happening. That's just one example. This can go for money. This can go for career. This can go for relationships. There's so many different ways that you can apply the concepts of quantum physics to your everyday life. And I have just been, oh my God, I'm just in love with it, in lust with it, whatever you want to call it. I am just beyond blown away by these concepts and how they actually affect us. They really do affect us because in the end, all of us as human beings on this planet, we are all made of energy. And you know what? So is everything else. And you really have to be in the mindset to really want to believe this, to really want to understand it. Otherwise, it's just going to sound like a bunch of woo-woo and a bunch of bullshit. So I completely understand if maybe this isn't something that you want to continue listening to. That's another thing I really had to think about. You know, there might be some people who listen to the show now who are not going to be into this. And I respect that and I completely understand it. And this is me going through change again. And if you do stick around, I really want to hear from you and tell me what you think about this direction, because I've talked about mindset before, I've talked about it with other guests, but really getting into the nitty-gritty, scientific, apply it to your everyday life is something I'm really, really into, and I feel like it can really benefit people, and I want you to really get into this with me if this is you. If this is not, I understand completely. And at the same time, I'm going with my intuition. It's telling me to go in this direction and really dig even deeper into my own self-development. And by me digging into it, it's helping you understand your own as well. And I want to share stories with you guys. And I want you to share stories with me. And I'm going to share a story with you today that if you really haven't dug into me as a person, as when I very first started this podcast and years before, there's something that's really important to me and something that's never left my brain. And it's in the book that I was, part of. It's called the Silver Linings Storybook. And I kind of go into my way past. This was in 2003, June 13th. I got married for the first time. I was young. I didn't really know where I was headed. I was confused. I was lost. I didn't understand really life. I didn't understand love. And yet I was getting married to my high school sweetheart. And we had been dating for about 7 years. And we got engaged and we got married June of 2003. I went through with the marriage, although my gut was telling me, don't do this. You are not ready. I also had all of these outside influences on me, something that I really let get to me when I was much younger. Today, I don't let that stuff affect me. I listen to it and then I move on. If it feels good to me, then I go with it. But if it doesn't feel good to me, I don't go with it. And back when I was that age, I was 24 at the time when we got married, I did not listen to anything. I made myself sick over it because the guy I was with, I cared for so much. I truly did love him. And at that point, again, I was young. I don't want to say stupid. You hear that, young and stupid. No, I wasn't stupid. I was uninformed about myself. I didn't know anything. I hadn't experienced anything. I hadn't really done anything. My life was not bad. It was really pretty damn good. He was wonderful. He was the perfect guy in what I see now. He just had everything going for him, and I was still not happy because I did not know myself. I didn't know what I wanted out of life. And I felt like going forward, staying married would be the wrong thing. And that's when I started to listen to myself. But it took me that much longer. It took me to actually walk down the aisle and then to say, I shouldn't have done this. And really, that's the story. I didn't listen to myself. And I regretted it later on. I don't see it as a mistake now. I see it as a gigantic learning experience. But I just was not ready. At that young age, I didn't know myself. I was looking for external validation from everyone. I was afraid that if I did not get married, I would break everyone's heart. I was worried about everyone but myself, and yet I was making myself physically sick because I cared so much for him, and yet I did not want to hurt him, so I did something that I was not ready for, and that was marriage. And that was a mistake, but at the same time, it was where I was at that point in my life. And that was 14 years ago, 14 long years ago. So let's fast forward. About 4 years later, I get married again, the second time. And this is my daughter's father. And we had very different views. I still didn't listen to myself. I still did things I didn't want to do. I was still on that cycle because I still didn't dive into any type of self-development or really look out for myself. I was now married. I had a child. I was looking out for him. I was looking out for her, forgetting about myself. That marriage ended, and I have a beautiful daughter whom I love to the moon and back. I have a great ex-husband who I'm friends with, and it's all wonderful. But the whole point is I still didn't listen to myself. So now I've been single since the year 2010, gone through so much stuff, and really it hit me that I needed to start taking care of myself and listening to myself when she went into kindergarten. And that was 5 years ago. So once she went into kindergarten, and I sort of had this nervous breakdown at work. I broke down. I was a mess. I'm not going to go into it. There's so many stories within these stories, and I'm not going to do that now. So I had this nervous breakdown, and what I realized after having that was, shit, I really need to figure this stuff out. I need to take care of myself. Why am I putting myself through this? What is this really getting me? And I look back, and what it was I was still trying to take care of everybody but myself. And in turn, I realized that my little girl was happy. She was a happy, happy kid because her father and I got along, and we did what was best for us, and we did what was best for her. And that was to not stay married. And once I realized that, it hit me that she's fine. I'm the one who's not fine. So, through all of that, what I'm trying to get to today is that through tweaking my story throughout the years, I realized that my happiness has to come first. And I've really dug into this whole self-development world and realized that there's so much that I have to learn about myself, and yet I want to live in the moment as much as I possibly can, and that's fucking hard, but I'm doing it. And the way I'm doing it is through constant learning and researching and talking to people and asking myself. I keep digging into my own intuition, and I do what it tells me. And it's really working out well, to the point where manifestation, and I'm going to get more deeper into that in the month of August and September, but through manifestation, things are happening in an amazing way with, I would have to say, career, with money, with relationships. Things are sort of just falling into place. I've been able to let go of control with so many things. But I have to say the biggest thing I've let go of control of was the whole external world and me worrying about what everyone else thinks of me. I don't care anymore. Well, I do care. I have to say that. But what I focus on is how it makes me feel. So if something's not making me feel good, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. And if it makes me feel amazing, I just sort of go with the flow. And I'm really trying to get with the flow more often. And with the flow, I kind of mean what just feels good. Trying not to think of the outcome, not thinking about the what ifs, not thinking of the how. And this is really important for actually making things happen. And I'm not going to go into that now because I still really feel like I want to study up on the scientific behind it so that I can explain that to you, and then you can then take it into your own life. But the way this is working with me is, and I have yet to say anything to anyone yet, is that my first ex-husband and I have reconnected, and it's funny how it worked. It's really funny how this actually came to fruition. When I first started working with my business coach back in end of January, she was really focused on manifestation, working with the mindset to help your business thrive. Well, I started working with her and just things started opening up. I sort of gave up my control while working with her, and things started happening. Again, I had no plans. I didn't. I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to feel. And I kind of just put it out there into the universe, letting things happen. And things started happening. Money started coming in. My relationships, friendships, they started to thrive. I let go of a lot of the things that I thought I should be doing, and I kind of just did what I wanted to do. And throughout all of this, I never put him out of my mind. He was my first love. He was there for me all the time. And what happened was I was constantly putting that energy out there that I was looking for that. That's exactly what I was looking for. And to get that friendship back, because he was my best friend. And then it happened. We got back in contact with each other, and we've been talking ever since. And it's going extremely well. I really enjoy his time. It's making me feel good. It's making me feel wonderful. My happiness, I'm more relaxed. I'm just letting things happen. Not controlling, not looking into the future of our friendship, not looking or trying to predict a damn thing. I'm just putting out there into the universe, the gods, the angels, whatever it is that you want to call it. I'm calling it the universe for now because I'm not really sure what sounds good, but it's just happening. There's no how. There's no constant contact. You just put it out there. That's exactly what I'm doing, and it's going amazing. As far as everything else, I'm going through business changes, and I know what I want to feel. Again, I'm focusing on that feeling. I'm focusing on what I actually want, but I'm not focusing on the how, because the way manifestation works is you want to know what you want to have, what you want to accomplish, but you have to take back the how. Trying to figure it out, that's up to the universe. That's not up to you on how that's going to happen. So think about that. If you are planning to, make $1 million, and you make this gigantic plan on how it's going to happen, you make every step of the way, you know what you're going to do to get to that. That's not the purpose, and that's not how this works. It sounds crazy, and I told you, there's so much more to this. I'm not going to get into it now, but the how is not up to you. I'll just tell you that, because the things that happen to me almost seem like they're magical. And it's pretty freaking cool to see that I've put out these thoughts and these feelings. And I've even told the higher powers, the universe, what it is that I want through writing and just through talking to myself, talking on this podcast. And the things are happening that I want unexpectedly, in unexpected ways. This is just how this works. And I'm really enjoying it because I am relaxed. I am so much less stressed, and I don't feel like I have all these external pressures on me because I'm not expecting it to come in a certain way or at a certain time. And that's another thing. Really focusing on time is not helping us, or I'm going to put it in my case. It was not helping me because that was creating stress. So as I talk, this is just sort of coming out of me, not planned. This is an impromptu podcast. I really just wanted to tell you what was happening in my life, what I'm up to now, and what you can expect out of this show in the late summer and the fall. So there are some topics that I really started putting together on what I want to be able to discuss with you guys. And these are just some raw ideas, and I'll run them by you guys. I want to know what you think. But as I have an idea, as my intuition tells me something to talk about, like the little voice in my head that I'm hearing, these are the things that come to me. And my intuition's actually pretty funny. It's telling me the topics that I want to talk about I'll run through a couple of them, and these might change, but this is where I'm headed. Besides the science stuff I want to share with you guys so that you can understand what these topics really mean. So I've come up with a bunch, and the first one is stop your bitching and make a change. That's one of the things. What is reality? Internal validation versus external validation. Your ego versus your intuition, and how to tell the difference. Is manifestation bullshit? And why you need to let go of control. These are just a few ideas, and I can get really deep with these. Really deep with them. I'm also getting questions from Facebook. And if you want to email a question, you can email me at imthelaurenjean@gmail.com. That's the letter I, the letter M. So I'm thelaurenjean@gmail.com. Send me a question. I'd really like to know what you think about this. And if you have a question that you want answered, you want me to explain something to you, I would love that as well. And I'm really considering doing questions along with the shows. So I would love to hear your question so that we can move forward. But as far as what's going on with my life, that's pretty much it. I'm as relaxed as I've ever been. I feel like my health has gone up. I'm just feeling better. My skin is better. I mean, there's just so much to this mindset stuff that we hear about all the time that can really help with your state of mind, of course, your health, your money, your relationships, career, parenting, all of this stuff. It all works together. It's all made of energy. It's just, you need to learn how to use it properly so that it works in your favor. And that's what I want to really get into with this show, because I really want it to have a purpose. I want it to be useful. I want it to be exciting. I want you to jump on the show every Tuesday and say, oh my God, I can't wait to hear what is coming next. So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And it is actually the 4th of July week that you're listening to this, although I'm recording it the week before. I will be camping on the 4th that whole week. I'm going to be gone, chilling, relaxing, coming up with more ideas for the show because my brain won't stop when it comes to this. But I hope you guys all have a wonderful 4th of July. And, or in this case, I should say had a wonderful 4th of July. This will come out the Tuesday after. And, yeah, enjoy your holiday week, enjoy your family, your friends, and everything else that you have going for you during the week. So I will talk to you guys mid-August. It seems like so far away, but don't go away. Stay with me, and let's connect on Facebook. You can come on over to the Facebook group, Passion to Pod. There'll be some changes in that group as well as I unravel what exactly is going on with me. So lovely to have you. And yeah, we'll talk really soon. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you got tons of useful information out of the show today. If you want to grab the resources and links that you have heard in the show, you can go to the blogcast section on my website at thelaurenjean.com. Or if you just want to listen to the pretty pod player, you can check out the podcast tab on the website. Again, that's www.thelaurenjean.com. Talk to you guys next week.